Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. So here I am back with another haul video, and this is going to be the first of two haul videos that I'll be showing you. So what I'm going to show you today are DVDs that I have picked up in the early part of December, but then also I've just actually had a couple of days away and I picked up some very interesting movies during that trip. So a separate video to come. As with many of my haul videos, I guarantee to show you some movies here that you won't have seen in other people's haul videos. So keep track of what it is I'm about to show you, and maybe let me know in the comments how many of these movies do you know and how many have you seen. This haul in particular, there's going to be some familiar movies. The next haul, definitely stay tuned for that one. It's going to be an interesting one. Anyway, here we go. First up, we have Evel Knievel, and this is the one that stars George Hamilton in the biopic based on the actual life of Evel Knievel, the stunt motorcyclist. So this is one I definitely watched in my childhood. I do have the other movie, Viva Knievel, in my collection, but this is actually the movie I remember watching mostly when I was younger. Next, from director Hiroyuki Morita, is this one, The Cat Returns. So yeah, I haven't had this one. I've got a lot of other Studio Ghibli movies in my collection, but not this one. So yeah, I look forward to seeing this. Next up is this one from 1998, and it's Class Trip, directed by Claude Miller, and this won the jury prize at Cannes in 1998. Now, I think all the DVD packaging here slightly misrepresents the film as a horror film. I don't think it's quite that, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll find out. Next, nice 2-disc edition here of Frank Darabont's The Mist, based on the Stephen King novel. Really enjoyable one, this. I've seen this a few times. Nice to now have the DVD with lots of special features. Next, pick this up pretty cheaply, and this is Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, obviously the sequel about to come out next year. And next, really pleased to find this, a nice 2-disc edition as well. This is Grizzly from 1976, directed by William Girdler and starring Christopher George. A really fun movie, very cheesy, but a fun movie about a bear attack. And definitely, having watched Cocaine Bear recently, which I was really hoping would kind of bring back the spirit of this kind of movie, I found that one was just not so enjoyable. This is tacky and cheesy and all the more enjoyable for it. Next, there's been many versions of Sherlock Holmes, but this is one I haven't seen. This is Ian Richardson starring as Sherlock Holmes in The Hound of the Baskervilles. Ian Richardson, perhaps famously in the British version of House of Cards. Next up is Species 2, starring Natasha Henstridge. Now, what is it about this film that guys like? I don't know, you tell me. Next up is the sequel to Sicario. This is Day of the Soldado. Not nearly as good as Sicario itself, but still a great performance from Benicio del Toro. And next, classic musical, this, Fiddler on the Roof. I have the Laserdisc, but it's actually missing a disc. So, about time to rewatch Fiddler on the Roof again, the kind of movie that used to be on at Christmas a lot when I was younger, so I haven't seen it in many years. Time to give it a rewatch. Next, we've got Sonny Chiba here in The Street Fighter, perhaps one of his most famous roles. Next, interesting one, this is Imprint. So this isn't actually a feature film, but it was a banned episode from the Masters of Horror series. And this one was directed by Takashi Miike, famous for doing films such as Ichi the Killer and Audition. So yeah, he perhaps overstepped the boundaries a little bit for TV broadcasting when he did his episode for Masters of Horror. But here it is on DVD with lots of extras on the DVD as well. And also from Takashi Miike, I do have this feature film, Visitor Q. Haven't seen this. Again, this one sounds like it's quite intense. You only have to look at some of the chapter headings on this DVD just to give you perhaps a possible impression of just what you might be in store for, with some of the chapter headings including Whore Addict, Milking, Strangle, Screw, and Poop, I'm Stuck. We shall see. Next up, it's Robert Lee Burke in RoboCop 3. Never actually seen this one. I know it wasn't meant to be particularly good, but nonetheless, I'm quite intrigued to see it. Next, and it's 3 Blade movies, all starring Wesley Snipes. Obviously, this is being rebooted at the moment with Mahershala Ali. But yeah, I haven't seen these since the cinema days, so look forward to seeing them again. And next, a pretty trashy thriller, this one really, from director Russell Mulcahy, who did Razorback and Highlander. This one stars Denzel Washington and John Lithgow. Now next we've got a Blu-ray here, but I actually won't be keeping this one. This is The Terrorizers, directed by Edward Yang. I was offered this one because it was a PAL DVD and Blu-ray, but actually this is in French only. It does not have any English subtitles, so yeah, I will be looking to get rid of this one. Next up, directed by Michael Curtiz, and it's James Cagney in Captain of the Clouds. And then James Cagney again with Virginia Mayo and Doris Day in West Point Story. And then once more James Cagney in a movie directed by William Keighley, The Fighting 69th. Moving on to some musicals now, and I've got Dames with Ruby Keeler, and this is a Busby Berkeley musical. As is Footlight Parade, which stars James Cagney again. And then also the wonderful Gold Diggers of 1935. Next up we have this one, The Hire. This is quite an interesting one. This is actually a series of short movies that were done to promote BMW, and they're all starring Clive Owen, and BMW got a real host of famous directors involved to do these short movies. So we have John Woo directing Hostage, Joe Carnahan directing Ticker, Tony Scott doing Beat the Devil, John Frankenheimer doing Ambush, Ang Lee doing Chosen, Wong Kar-wai doing The Follow, Guy Ritchie doing Star, and Alejandro González Iñárritu doing Powder Keg. So what an array of directors there. Pretty powerful stuff. So yeah, The Hire. Next, directed by Steven Schamberg and starring Nicole Kidman and Robert Downey Jr. is Fur, the Diane Arbus story about a reclusive photographer. Now, I passed on this one years ago when it came out, and I think this one's really sort of gone under the radar over the years because of its kind of unusual content. But having seen the trailer for this again recently when I was watching another movie, yeah, I definitely got intrigued and picked up a copy. Next up is this one, Chronicle, directed by Josh Trank. Now, I have seen this one a couple of times over the years. I don't love it, but it's definitely quite an interesting premise, this one, and definitely that sense of ordinary people getting special powers. So yeah, quite an intriguing film, this really, Chronicle. Next, surprisingly, I didn't have this in my collection, but yeah, classic bit of Jack Nicholson, I suppose, in As Good as It Gets. And then just picked up a copy of Gina Prince Bythewood's Love and Basketball, which you can get through the Criterion collection nowadays. And then good to get this as well. This was a Region B release that was offered to me of Eric Romer's Tales of the Four Seasons. So yes, this has just actually been issued by Criterion as well, so you can pick it up through them. But yeah, this is the Artificial Eye release. So Tales of Springtime, A Winter's Tale, A Summer's Tale, and An Autumn Tale. And just to show you the covers, Autumn Tale, Summer's Tale, A Winter's Tale, and A Tale of Springtime. And then finally, a limited series, a bit of TV from the 50s. This is The Veil, 10 episodes here starring Boris Karloff. So yeah, not heard of this one before. Sounds quite interesting. Picked this up very cheap. So yeah, The Veil. Okay, there we go. That's a quick run through of what I picked up in early December. Like I say, there is going to be another haul video to come, which definitely will include some movies that I doubt very many of you will have seen in other haul videos. So stay tuned for that one. But let me know in the comments, how many of these movies do you know, or how many have you seen? I look forward to reading your comments. I always appreciate those. Thanks very much for joining me on this video. I do hope I'll see you again. All the best to you. Hope you're gearing up for your Christmas break. Take care. Bye-bye.